All right, welcome everyone and Happy New Year. We're really excited to bring you this webinar where we'll look back at all of the incredible work you did in this past year, how we've changed and grown, and the exciting features and opportunities coming in 2019. So during this webinar, as in all previous ones, if you've attended our webinars before, I highly encourage you to submit any questions you have about this past year or what's to come, what you see on the slides. And you can do this using the Q&A tool. You should find this tool at a bar on the top or bottom of your screen on your phone or on your computer. You should be able to just type your question in and we can answer that during the presentation or after the presentation. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to our host, Brad Roberts, Global Head of Network Platform. Brad has a PhD from University of Washington's Department of Material Science and Engineering. He joined Xinova's predecessor in 2010, and he now manages the engineering, product, and business intelligence teams behind the Xinova platform. So, Brad, please take it from here.
Thanks, Shivani. I'm going to hop on video. No, apparently I won't. I was just going to give a quick wave to show I'm a human. I'm coming to you from New York at a WeWork, which has had some occasional fire alarms go off for testing. So we're going to see how this one goes. I looked at the participant list of people who've logged in, and we have people coming from Israel, the US, Malaysia, Australia, China, Korea, Japan. There's a pretty broad range and a bunch of different backgrounds, and I've had the opportunity to meet several of you. But I look forward to at some point meeting the rest. This summary is the first time we've tried doing a webinar covering our a look back at our year. As you can tell, we have become a much more open company, and we look forward to 2019 bringing even more openness to you and more interaction with both our partners and our customers, but also for you to be able to engage with other members of the network. So I'm going to talk for about 15, maybe 20 minutes, and we'll open it up to questions afterwards. But by all means, you are welcome to reach out in the future by email or through the Intercom chat app on our website. Oops. All right. So today I'm going to be covering a couple of different areas. A little bit of our background for those of you who don't know it, a bit about our website and platform, some of the ways we're engaging with you, some of the customers that we're working with, a wrap up of some of the successes from last year, and what's coming in 2019. So first, a little bit about Xinova. As Shivani mentioned, I joined the company in 2010 when we were inside of another organization. We've since left it. Our focus then was around solely seeking new inventions in response to an investment thesis that we formed. We did that with a couple of partners, we did it internally, but that was solely around new inventions that turned into patents. Over the past couple of years, we've made quite a transition. We're in the process of building a platform that will be continuous, bringing in feedback and learning from your responses to us. But we're also looking forward to networking the platform. So we talk about an inventor network, but we don't actually have one. We have a bunch of hub and spoke relationships. And starting this year, you will see a chance to actually engage with other members of the network and then benefit from network effects. We also are looking into how we expand into many other technical areas, which I'll be talking about shortly. So what do we talk about inside of Xinova? We look at it in the category of pillars of innovation, and there are 4 things to that. Within it, we want to make sure that process is as friction-free as possible, and that all of the resources that might be needed to do your work are available. Similarly, for our partners, customers, and investors, that they've got access to all the information, tools, and resources that they need in order to help bring your ideas into market. So we talk about this in the category of 4 pillars of talent, technology, capital, and demand. Talent is, well, you. Technology are the things that you create, but also technologies that already exist. Capital is in the form of investors in the projects that we work on, and we look at demand as the information that comes from a market or marketplace. That can be a customer, but can also be things that we learn through analysis of trends in industries. Connecting all of those things allows us to bring a technology into some commercial viability. So how are we doing that? We're doing that in an innovation platform. We call it Xinova. Sometimes we shorten it and refer to it as X. But if you go to my.xinova.com, you'll be able to log into our platform. And it is truly a platform. Today it does a couple of things. It used to do only one, and tomorrow it's going to do many, many more things. Ultimately, what we're looking to do is reduce the pain points of working on innovation projects. Those projects have many different needs. They're not just around invention, they're also about finding new technologies. They're about finding applications of existing ones. It's also a place for people to connect, to find investors, and to find educational materials. We'll be getting into those things over this year. Some of the things that our platform has enabled over the past year or so is that our review process is drastically streamlined. About a year ago, the average time to reach a decision was somewhere around 130 days, when we were making a promise of getting under 90 days. We clearly were not meeting that promise. Today, I'm happy to say that our review process, on average, reaches a decision point within 60 days. We're tracking this information in a way that allows us to look at what are the biggest pain points and work on them. We hope that you're feeling that benefit as well. Similarly, we're able to work on a lot of new types of opportunities. The early version of our site for the first couple of years, which we cut away from in August of last year, only allowed us to do what were effectively a request for invention. Today we do requests for many different things, and you'll see us moving even away from a request for and into simply the opportunity space. And then thirdly, the ability for people to collaborate is something that you're starting to see early phases of. We're looking for people in certain cases rather than technologies. That search for people allows us to put the right people in a room to work on a problem together. So how are we engaging with you, the innovators? Well, this is one way. Today we're in a webinar looking back at 2018, but we have, for every new opportunity that launches, we have been providing a webinar that allows for people to come learn new information, ask questions, and in some cases, network with their peers. We've also introduced a help center with frequently asked questions, past resources, and ability for people to introduce new areas for us to explore. If you haven't seen it, you'll be able to access on a link that'll go out after this webinar. Similarly, we have explainer videos, which are available both in public and private forms on the website, that give an indication of what it is that working with Xinova is like, from how do you access opportunities and respond to them, to what are the contracts, to what does the commercialization look like. We'll be putting out more of these as we receive feedback and requests. In the case of onboarding, we've done a much better job of introducing what we do to people and making their lives easier. If you go to our public website, there's an Innovator page that describes what it is that we do. You will be able to share that with a friend and not have to hopefully field a lot of questions. Similarly, we have a handbook that is available for download and distribution. It encapsulates many of the questions that we frequently see. And perhaps most tactically useful, practical, is pre-submission support and the ability to engage with our innovation development managers directly. So if you log into the site and you see an opportunity of interest, but you aren't sure if your thoughts are in the right direction, we encourage you to reach out to us, and somebody will get back and provide feedback of hopefully something that improves your idea, that may take you away from going down a bad path and down to something more productive. This feedback is informed by seeing many different submissions and many different conversations with our commercial partners. As far as outreach goes, we also do a lot to make sure that you are central to this. So we've been running what we call Zin City events at Xinova. You see a picture there of one that happened in Tel Aviv in the spring, but we've run them also in everything from Seattle, Singapore, Malaysia, Sydney, I believe Helsinki, and quite a few other locations, either as an executive is traveling or as a central group of innovators gather. In those events, we've done everything from tell me about the invention you most regret to what are the tools that you find most useful to others. We hope that you will be able to join us at one in 2019. Similarly, we've been profiling people in a means to share what's really interesting about you. We're aiming to do at least one per month. We'd love to hear from you and your suggestions. Even if you don't want to be profiled, but you think that there's somebody who would be interested, we'd love to hear about that. Similarly, you're seeing a monthly newsletter that comes out, which includes tips and features, quotes, interviews, and other resources about what is going on. We want to make sure that you're aware of what we're working on so that you're best prepared to come on that journey. Additionally, in the form of outreach, it is incredibly valuable for us to receive feedback about everything that we have going on. We had our first in-person Innovator Advisory Board, which was formed, I believe, in 2017, at its first meeting with the group that you see on the left. A full 2 days of interviews, feedback sessions, a little bit into design thinking, and some tours of local labs. We'll be cycling people through that board over time. We're looking at contributions, at breadth of experience, at creative thinking, and it was an incredibly valuable 2 days to learn from what works and what doesn't, and what else it is that those folks do. Similarly, we run a series of interviews and surveys, both with people who are regularly engaged and for those who are what we might call lurkers, people who've shown up once but never come back, and we want to know why. And we find out that sometimes it's that there's not simply a relevant problem for them to work on, which puts the onus on us to find more interesting and relevant problems for them to work on. And feedback goes both ways. I mentioned pre-submission feedback, and this is our form of receiving feedback from you on what is working. What's going on with the network? Well, we added people. That's an expansion of nearly 10% last year. People from all over, as you can see. 93 countries has been our membership for quite a bit, and an increase in new members from the previous year's increase. So we're happy with the outreach. We're looking certainly for more projects for those members to work on. Customers, what it is that we spend a lot of time putting in front of you so that you have a chance to work with them. We expanded the scope of what we do. Here you see a request for application, which is a known technology that needs to be applied into a new industry. So we have people come to us and say that they've got something where they don't know what the right market fit is, and then we can take that to you for response. Similarly, you've probably seen for many years our request for inventions, which is a de novo idea in response to a market challenge. And typically that results in a patent, but we're also working with plenty of customers who are looking for something different from a patent, a solution. It may be that that solution results in a startup. It may be that it's a trade secret. We've been able to move and be more flexible in how we address those. We are also running in-person sessions. We've actually run those for a number of years. Now we are doing a better job of canvassing the network to learn from you who the right people should be that go to those sessions. So when you see one of these rapid innovation session calls, we want to know if you think you are an interested party to come and work on that. We can't fit everybody in the room, but we look for a breadth of experience, a breadth of technical knowledge, and not necessarily somebody who has been working in that specific field. So please keep an eye out for more of those. Similarly, a request for technology is not about invention, but an existing technology that can be augmented or adapted minorly in order to bring it into a problem space for a client. And most recently, we're taking work to the network. Things that we have done internally around authoring, we're asking you if you would come and participate in that. We intend to have many more of these, but essentially we need an author. This is a paid position, and it is something that we work with you and put you in connection with the client. We're expanding the technical fields. For example, we had never really worked in window glazing before, but we had done a little bit in automotive. So this past year was quite interesting in that respect. And 13 new technical areas last year is something that we're quite proud of, and we look forward to having significantly more next year. So what were the successes of the past year? Well, we have paid out close to $1 million for inventions that came through in 2018, and that went to you as the membership. We saw roughly 830 submissions. Nearly half of them were of really high quality, and that means that we're able to put them in front of the customer. Doesn't mean that they're all selected. And you see on the right-hand side, the number of selections is actually a number still increasing because the review process, certainly takes a little bit of time. When we started working on this deck, it was at 39. So expect that number to increase. Total selection rate for 2018, once you remove the things still in flight, is roughly 11%, and there are still 175 in flight. Similarly, what happens next? Well, this past year, we signed 2 licenses to a multinational for technologies that it cleared through concept development phases, and 1 startup was formed around food cart management, which you'll start seeing some publicity around sometime this year. This is being taken forward with an entrepreneur in residence. So, what is coming in 2019? Hopefully, quite a bit more. More opportunities, a difference in the types of opportunities and the technical breadth. As I mentioned, network engagement, ways for you to participate and be rewarded for doing interesting work in the space of innovation. Again, around either creating something new or working on something that already exists in a new way. Similarly, we want to see you as a much more integrated participant in that process. We're increasing the porosity of the relationship that we have between our partners on the demand side and our partners on the network side. Similarly, we're forming an innovation studio, which will result in even more entrepreneur in residence, and that leads to productization and commercialization of technologies systematically. We're moving into new technical areas. You'll see some work coming in healthcare, in governance of small cities and city-states, in financial technology. That's what has me in New York today, and into a breadth of other technology fields. We'd also like to hear from you. If you have somebody you think might be interested in what we offer, we'd love to work with you on developing that. So what's coming on the platform in 2019? Well, some of it's coming very quickly, and some of it will be in the first or second half. So the first couple of items, including a referral program so that you're rewarded for bringing a friend or a peer into the network, is coming pretty soon. Similarly, we want to see you participate in review processes when we're not talking about something as confidential as an invention, but in putting together technologies. Other short-term opportunities that involve everything from help us on our hiring. If you know somebody who's a software engineer, we're looking for quite a few of those, or product managers, but also into the ability to write, as I mentioned. So there's quite a few spaces. Connecting with network members, communicating with them, and moving into a space where we can provide tool sets for, as you author, you get immediate feedback due to machine learning processes that we've been implementing. We want you to collaborate more. We're creating team formation tools and the ability to find teams that already exist should you be interested in a project that they are working on. Mentoring is something that we consistently hear feedback on a need for. And then similarly, a better ability to learn what happens after selection occurs. You'll start seeing that coming out soon. With that, I'd like to say thank you for your time. I hit about 20 minutes, which I'm pretty happy with, but I believe Shivani has captured a couple of questions, and she will likely navigate that. But happy to hear from you by email, and please reach out on the intercom bubble on the right-hand side of the portal when you do log in. Otherwise, I wish you a wonderful year.